The Postman by David Brin. So this is episode 32 of a series I'm doing called The Masterpieces of Science Fiction, and it's 140 books that I'm reading through and doing a video review for each book. And this happens to be the 32nd book I've read in the series. Now this book was copyright 1985, and most people know about this book probably because of the movie. And the movie starred Kevin Costner. I saw it a long time ago. I don't think it's that good. It kind of has a bad reputation. But the book was just fantastic. So let's just get right into the plot and premise of the book. So this was written in the mid-80s, and David Brin, he kind of wrote the book like a calamity happened right around that time, right around in the 80s. And what happened was a big nuclear war happened. We don't know all the details of it. It's 17 years later when we start the book, so something happened. We know EMPs were sent off, and those are electromagnetic pulses. It kind of ruined a lot of electronics. There was some other things going on. Basically, humanity is down to just a few people scattered around, just trying to survive in the aftermath of this nuclear holocaust. So our main character, his name is Gordon, and he lived over in the Midwest. I think it was Minnesota. And he was kind of like a art or theater student. And when this happened, we don't know all the details of when he was in Minnesota, but he started walking towards the West Coast, and in particular, Oregon. So when we pick up the story, Gordon had walked from Minnesota years and years, and he was just crossing the border from Idaho into Oregon. And he had kind of been making his way and living through this Holocaust by performing plays and doing things whenever he ran across a settlement of some people. And he would do it just to get some food, and then he would kind of move on, and because he had this goal, he was trying to head to the coast. So pretty early on in the book, he's running from some people. He kind of loses a lot of his possessions, and he has to hide out in this vehicle he sees abandoned out in the woods. And this vehicle happens to be a postal vehicle, and there's a corpse of the postman who was driving this vehicle. And it's pretty apparent this postman was out after this nuclear holocaust. So that brings up a lot of questions. What's a postman doing out in the middle of a holocaust? That is pretty well kind of speculated in the book. I'm not going to spoil that. But he kind of does a little detective work and tries to figure out what this postman was doing there. He's going through the mail. He's kind of trying to figure it out. And he comes up with this idea of putting on the gear of the postman and grabbing some mail and pretending like that there's this group trying to reestablish the United States government, basically the United States government. And in order to do this, he comes up with this idea that he was kind of recruited by the government, and he's sent out west to set up a postal line. So this is his idea, and the next settlement he comes to, he approaches him and, basically says, hey, I'm a mailman, I'm with the United States government, we're putting it back together, and he tries to kind of sell this lie to the first settlement he comes across. And they're not buying it, but there happened to be someone in the camp, and he was reading some names on some letters, and someone recognized the name, and it kind of validated what he was doing. So they questioned it, they brought him in, they kind of believed him. But what happened with Gordon here is he kind of gets stuck in this lie, because every place he goes, people start believing him more and more. The more he gets letters from the last settlement and takes them to the next one, plus the mail he found originally, it kind of starts convincing everyone that this could be real. But the problem is, as soon as he kind of gets comfortable in an area, he can't just stay there because they expect him to keep up with this thing for the government. Like, he's supposed to be delivering mail. He can't just hang up his cap and hang out and enjoy the good life. So he's kind of stuck in this lie. That's the main premise of the book. That setup happens pretty early on. And throughout the rest of the book, he is moving around from settlement to settlement, kind of trying to find his way in this post-apocalyptic world. He runs across all kinds of different people, just everyday citizens kind of trying to rebuild, people who have kind of given up, people who try to rob him. He comes across people who may be perpetrating their own lies, and there's some technology that comes up in this book around AI. There's almost some augmented human, I wouldn't call it like cyberpunk, but there's like augmented humans that show up in this book. There's a group of outlaws that was started from this man named, his last name was Holn, Holn, Holn. So they call him like the Wholeness, I think, something like that, these people. And so they're the main kind of villains in this story, and then you have everyone else who's just trying to survive as the rest of everyone. So the book is really good. It's very entertaining. It keeps you engaged. You're kind of waiting for some reveals or some plot twists, and there are some plot twists. The ending, though, leaves a little to be desired on my part, and that's really the only real con I have with this book. Overall, David Brin's writing is really good, the story's good, it's entertaining, it's thought-provoking, and the only thing I can really say negative about this book is the ending just kind of left me, not sure. And after a few days later, I'm still not sure exactly what I think about the ending. But overall, this was a solid book. If you're into post-apocalyptic books at all, this is a must-read. I would definitely put it up on your TBR and get to this sometime in the future. If you're not into post-apocalyptic books, I would probably, if you're curious, this is a really good way to start. It reads really easy. It's not confusing. There's nothing too horrific. There's nothing too sexist. This was written in the 80s, so it reads a lot more modern than some of the things that I've been reading that are pre-1950s and even in the 60s. So overall, really good book. Check it out if you get a chance. And next up, I'm reading Circus World by Barry B. Longyear. So I'm not sure if I will do a single video review for this book or if I'll just go ahead and read all 3 books that are in this kind of trilogy and then just do one video that kind of encompasses all of them. Because like I said, this is going to be a busy month of December for me, and I'm not sure I'll be around to film a bunch of videos. So that's about it for this video. Go check out the Postman. And once again, thanks for watching.